Hi everyone, welcome to the March tour of our garden here in Switzerland. It's such a beautiful day today and I'm so excited to show you how the garden is doing as of this month of March, give you an update on the projects that I've been working on and show you the first spring blooms. So let's take a look. As always, we're going to be starting over here in the front yard by the vegetable garden, but first I'd like to show you the arrangements that I put together back in fall that are by the roadside. The three containers are looking quite beautiful. They're coming up nicely. The daffodils are blooming right now and providing the roadside here some much welcome spring colors. On the other side of the driveway, I put together this arrangement using flowers and bulbs that I collected around the garden. And over here is the site where I put in those bulbs back in fall. And also you can see the poppies coming up already. Back now in the garden to take a look at the vegetable patch. I've been working a lot lately on setting up the vegetable garden for the season. I've already put in my first seedlings. These are the Kohlrabi seedlings that I had indoors a few days ago. And right next to that, I have the radish coming up together with some beets. I've already put in my winter sown peas. Over here is my garlic from the fall planting, as well as the onions and leeks back there. So what I have to do now is to set up an early bed back there and also put in some grow bags and some containers to increase the grow space for vegetables that I have here at the front. Here in the middle, you can see that all the bulbs are coming up really nicely. I love the way they're filling up the space slowly. I think one bulb less and it would have looked a bit scanty. But loving the way they're looking, and I cannot wait to see all those blooms open up. Now we're going to be looking at the rest of the garden, and we'll be starting over here with this arrangement that I put together just 2 weeks ago. I love the color mix here. I think the yellow, purple, white, they look so beautiful together. And these are the tulips that I collected from the hedge. They're holding up. They're not looking their best, but I'm sure they'll still bloom. Over here is my only one of the few helleborus that I have left here in front. I used to have a couple here in this basket. I've since taken them out and they've revealed all the bulbs that I had placed in that arrangement back in fall. Loving the color mix there. I have the helleborus still here. I've not planted them yet, but I'm going to put some of them here in the front bed and I'll move the rest to the back. Now, I've added a few inches to this border that I recently widened to have more grow space. I've since planted a few bare roots perennials in the border. I've also added some spring interest, some violas, some daffodils. I'm even putting in some of my plants that I used to have from last season, the things that I had growing in my backyard flower border. And it's constantly changing. I'm constantly working on it. So it's going to be quite interesting to see when all the perennials come back and all the shrubs are growing and blooming, how the border is going to look effectively. It's going to be quite interesting, but it's going to probably be a work in progress for a long time. However, I'm loving how it's looking right now. I love the hint of spring colors that are coming out of it. I love how the shrubs are filling up slowly. So it's very exciting to work around here and see things coming up every single day. It's really a joy and something that I'm really I actually look forward to every single day, to visiting this border and checking on the plants, see what has grown more leaves each day, see how far the bulbs are getting, how taller, if any of them has bloomed, what the blooms look like, and how the border is changing. Now we're going to go closer to the house and take a look at the little flower bed that is right next to the light rail and surrounded by the boxwoods. I'm not getting as much as I had hoped from this little flower bed right now, but the things that are there are just exquisite. I love those daffodils, and what I can take away from this is that I need to put in a bit more next season, put in more of these daffodils and also add a few in that container up there, because I think if I had daffodils there, they'll complement this a little bit more. Over here you can see that the tulips are soon going to open up, but the combination right now, it's really nice. There's a daffodil opening up every single day, and the primroses are looking just unbelievable next to these violas. So I really love that combination, and I can't wait to see how these tulips look when they open up. On the other side, we have quite the same combination, with the exception that I used different violas on this side. So also loving the mix here, the combination of colors and texture of the different bulbs and flowers, and I cannot wait to see what the tulips look like. I think I had way too few hyacinths in the garden. I planted way too few and they're not coming up yet. So I'm going to be adding those to the arrangements here, and we're going to see how they stand out next to these beautiful daffodils. Now we're going to be looking and moving towards the back, but first we have to take a look at the Hydrangea Border. It's coming to life slowly. And wait a second, here I have the Lavender Bushes, and I'm going to be planting them over here. I need to weed all of that, clean it up, and then plant the lavender here. Now over here I have a second row of pots that I'm putting together right next to that Japanese maple tree, which is also slowly coming back to life. I have some new garden ornaments here, and this whole area is still work in progress. However, the containers with the bulbs here are also coming up beautifully. Some of them are a bit further than the others in terms of growth, but they are coming up, and there you can really see that I have a few hyacinths in that container. So it's going to be quite interesting when these come up. I have really beautiful colors that are supposed to come out of these containers, and I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing those. Now to the Hydrangea Border. I mean, it's becoming green every single day. Green, I mean, look at those leaves. We can already see leaves here on the Annabelle hydrangeas, as well as the mini allium bulbs that I put in. Here in the back row is where I have some alliums that I collected from the backyard. I still have a few that I need to collect and plant in this border, because I think they'll look much better. But things are beginning to emerge here and filling up, looking lush. The one thing that I'm realizing now is that the bulbs that I transplanted in this border are they might be a bit on the shorter side, so I'm not sure, but I think those tulips are going to be more on the shorter side, which will be a shame. But nevertheless, I'm going to be observing it, and we'll have to wait and see how everything looks like once they are in full bloom. Now to this corner over here. The plants for this corner have changed ever since I decided to not put the trampoline here anymore. You'd notice that I still have my grasses there, and I'm planning on changing it completely. I'll be putting a row of shorter hydrangea in the front and moving the grasses more towards the back. There are so many things yet to happen in this particular corner, and it's going to be a work in progress for some time, because I also plan on putting in a gate around here to keep the dog in the backyard. I'm going to be putting some form of enclosure around here, perhaps even with a garden obelisk to give some heights. We're going to have to wait and see. Over here, I've already brought in my old metal swing frame. I'm planning to use it to grow my beans again this season and other things that are growing vertically. So I need to set that up, and we'll see how that goes. Moving more towards the back, and you can see the new addition to the garden, which is the polytunnel. And right next to that is where I have all the plants that are waiting for space in the garden, some of which require medical attention. Inside the polytunnel, however, I have my tomatoes, peppers, and okra seedlings that are, spending some time in the polytunnel. And yeah, I've given an update on those recently. So here's the setup in the polytunnel right now. More updates to come on that. However, the polytunnel itself, I really appreciate all the comments that you guys gave, but also the concern about anchoring the polytunnel. I am using the grow bags as you see on this side, but on the other side, I've put in some sandbags that are very heavy that will hold the polytunnel down no matter the strength of the wind that may be blowing. And I've also put 2 sandbags at the back that should have enough weight. These are the same sandbags that I used in the past to hold down our previous trampoline, so they should help the polytunnel stay down. They should be able to provide it enough weight to hold it down. Back here, you'd also notice my dogwood, which is beginning to leaf out, and other shrubs and grasses that I've planted in the circle garden, so to say. The plans for this area have also changed since I decided to put the trampoline here, and as such, I'm planting and transplanting things. So it's work in progress, and we're going to have to wait and see what ends up staying there and what doesn't make it by the end of the season. What is sure to stay nevertheless is this row of mophead hydrangeas that is also beginning to leaf out and looking good. So this is one of the things that I really look forward to, seeing how these hydrangeas fill in the space around them and what the blooms look like. Here is a new bed in the making with techniques that you'd recognize. And back there I have a few bulbs that are coming up. This corner is rather on the cooler side because of the boxwood hedge. The sun doesn't shine as much there, and I'll be using the space to grow some shade-loving plants as well as some of my helleborus. And here is one of my main spring interests that is yet to open up the buds. That is my Japanese cherry blossom, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like this season. Now to the area of the garden that is in most need of some plants. My future backyard vegetable garden. Over there is a box in which I'll be planting my sweet potato. Right next to that, I plan to put in my corn. I'll be putting my pumpkins over there so they can grow towards the back. And here in front, I'll be putting in some potatoes, some carrots. I have some delphiniums and other perennials from last season that are still to be moved. They are still growing in this space. I'm going to be moving them pretty soon and freeing up the space to plant my veggies. Here in the front row, you can see that the bulbs are popping up really beautifully, some faster than the others, but also you can see that the sedum is coming back really, really nicely. I divided some larger sedum plants last fall, and planted them here. So it'll be interesting to see how they come back and what they look like. Back here next to the berry trees is where I'm going to be putting a tower of strawberries. I have the material here already, the containers that I'll be using for that project. And yeah, it's going to look quite interesting. So I really look forward to working on that and getting my strawberries going. The other berry plants, however, are leafing out and beginning to come back really beautifully. The blueberries are looking great. They're shooting out new leaves every single day, as well as all the raspberries that we planted. You can see how lush they are already, putting on new leaves every single day and filling in really, really nicely. I did plant my green giants and I complemented them with some helleborus here. This is complete shade and the helleborus are looking great. So I might add in a few helleborus here and also move more towards the back of the garden. Down here is where I collected some of the alliums that I've planted in the Hydrangea Border, and I still have a few here to collect and plant in the front yard. I think they will be much better in the front garden, and also I have different plants for this area. So I'm going to be removing all the alliums here and moving them to the front yard. So that was it. This is how the garden is doing as of the month of March. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel welcome to drop a comment, a feedback, a gardening tip. I always appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in our next one. Bye bye.